Man, the Baltimore world barely had time to breathe before Lamar Jackson's name popped back up in yet another round of unnecessary drama. The guy was literally just getting back on the field, shaking off the bumps and bruises that come with playing this sport. And suddenly he's dragged into a conversation he didn't ask for and definitely didn't deserve. Lamar returned to practice feeling good, ready to get rolling again. And out of nowhere, he's crowned the most overrated quarterback in football by an article. That felt more like someone trying to make noise than someone actually watching games. It's wild how this pattern keeps repeating itself with Lamar every time he takes a step forward. Every time he silences one group of critics, another group pops up with a new set of goalposts. A new thing he supposedly hasn't done, a new reason to doubt him. It's exhausting. Not for Lamar because he keeps handling it like a professional, but for anyone who actually watches football and understands the impact he has on the Ravens. And that article didn't just call him overrated. It doubled down and said he might be one of the most overrated quarterbacks ever, which is just a wild accusation. When you're talking about a two-time most valuable player who isn't even 30 years old yet, question his postseason record, his credentials, even suggested his awards were somehow inflated. Meanwhile, the guy has one of the highest winning percentages in league history, barely turns the ball over, and is once again on pace for another MVP caliber season. This isn't someone who gets carried by his team. This is someone his team depends on to even function. This is someone whose absence changes the entire identity of the offense, but somehow, in the world of hot takes, Lamar is overrated. That's why you saw former players jumping in to defend him, because they know what it looks like inside those lines. They know how hard it is to do what Lamar does year after year. They know how much harder it gets when you're the center of attention, when every little mistake becomes a headline, when every win gets credited to someone else but every loss gets pinned on you. And honestly, it's refreshing to see former Ravens stand up and say what everyone is thinking. People inside the league respect Lamar, coaches respect him, players respect him, fans around the world respect him. There's really only one group that keeps trying to act like he hasn't earned it. And the funniest part is, whenever someone tries to tear Lamar down, the logic falls apart into seconds. They bring up the postseason record, but ignore the context. They talk about not reaching the big game yet, but ignore the injuries, the roster issues, the seasons where he had to carry the entire team on his shoulders just to keep them competitive. They throw out one number and pretend it tells the whole story, while conveniently overlooking that quarterbacks with similar or worse resumes never get labeled the same way. It's selective criticism, and everyone sees it. What makes it even more obvious is who isn't on that list of supposedly overrated quarterbacks. Not the guys with fewer awards, not the guys who haven't reached a championship game either. Not the guys who consistently get outplayed by Lamar head-to-head. And when you see that, it's hard not to think there's something else going on. Maybe it's fatigue. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's people clinging to old narratives they can't admit they were wrong about. But whatever it is, calling Lamar overrated just doesn't make sense. Especially not this season, this year more than ever. The Ravens have looked like two completely different teams, the version with Lamar and the version without him. With him, they have rhythm, identity, explosiveness, and a chance in every matchup no matter who they're facing. Without him, everything slows down, everything gets harder, every yard becomes a grind. And when you talk about someone being overrated, that's usually the opposite of what you see. Overrated players disappear. Overrated players look average unless the stars around them bail them out. Lamar's the guy doing the bailing. He's the spark. He's the engine. He's the piece that gives everyone else a chance to shine. If anything, he's underrated for how much responsibility he carries every time he takes the field. And what makes the whole situation even more ironic is that while all this noise is happening, the Ravens are gearing up for a divisional matchup that has real weight behind it. Heading into Cleveland to face the Browns in Week 11 is always a challenge. No matter what the records are, the Browns have a way of making every game ugly, every yard fought for, every mistake magnified. The Ravens haven't swept them since the year 2020, which feels like forever ago. If there was ever a moment to go into their stadium and remind everyone who runs the AFC North, this is it. Baltimore needs the win to keep climbing back from that rough start. The Browns are trying to claw their way out of the hole they dug themselves earlier in the season. It's one of those games where every possession matters, every defensive stand could swing momentum, and every big play might be the one that defines the afternoon. Lamar practicing fully, feeling good, and showing no signs of being slowed down is exactly what Baltimore needed. Heading into a matchup like this, the team looks different when he's out there. The confidence level jumps instantly. The playbook opens up. Defenses have to prepare for everything instead of half the field, and on top of that, this week also brings another storyline the fanbase has been waiting to see develop. The rise of Keaton Mitchell. His emergence has been one of the most electric parts of the season, especially considering how long he was kept inactive. Every time he touches the ball, you can feel something might break open. He has that rare burst, that instant acceleration that turns a routine play into a highlight. Even when the offensive line struggles to create space, he finds little cracks, slips through lanes nobody else sees, and suddenly he's sprinting past linebackers and safeties who barely had time to react. That kind of spark is exactly what this offense needs, especially in games that can get tight and physical like the ones against the Browns always do. And what makes it even better is hearing how hungry Keaton is. Even when he wasn't getting snaps earlier in the year, he stayed patient, stayed locked in, stayed ready. Now that he's back on the field, he's grateful, he's fired up, and he's looking to make an impact every time his cleats hit the turf. He knows the opportunity isn't guaranteed. He knows what he went through with the injury. You can hear the appreciation in his voice every time he talks about being back in the huddle. He wants to make something happen this week. He wants to turn one of those touches into something the whole stadium feels. And the Ravens need that explosive edge from him when he and Lamar share the backfield. Defenses freeze for a moment, and that moment is all it takes for something big to break open. That's why the plan this week should be simple. Get Lamar rolling early, let Keaton attack the edges, keep the Browns guessing, keep the tempo high, and make sure the offense stays unpredictable from start to finish. Because Cleveland knows how to make games uncomfortable, and the best way to deal with that is to hit them before they hit you. Baltimore has the weapons. They have the urgency. They have the quarterback who can flip the entire game with a single play. And now they have that extra spark in the backfield who can do the same. What really makes this moment fascinating for Baltimore is how the offense is slowly shifting into something more dynamic, something that feels dangerous again. Keaton Mitchell is a big part of that, but it is the combination of his burst with Lamar Jackson's command that gives this team a different identity. When both of them are lined up together, you can almost sense defenses holding their breath. You see linebackers hesitate, safeties creeping forward or cheating backward, unsure of where the ball is going. And that hesitation is everything. It turns small creases into lanes, routine reads into explosive possibilities. It is the kind of energy that changes not just the game plan, but the entire mindset of a team heading into a divisional matchup. And the thing is, Keaton brings an element that Baltimore desperately needed: unpredictability. He is not just a fast runner, he is a slippery runner. He hits the gas before defenders even recognize what direction he is committing to. 1 second he is swallowed up in traffic, and the next he slips out the backside like smoke drifting through cracks. That shiftiness forces defensive coordinators to adjust. And every adjustment they make to stop Keaton opens something up for Lamar. Suddenly, red options look more threatening, bootlegs stretch wider. The middle of the field opens for tight ends. Opposing defenses can no longer crash on Lamar without worrying Keaton will torch them if they leave a seam unaccounted for. That dynamic is something Baltimore has not had consistently since the earliest days of Lamar's career, when the offense felt like organized chaos that only the Ravens fully understood. Hearing Keaton talk about his frustration earlier in the season and the gratitude he feels now makes all of this even more meaningful. He waited through the inactive weeks, worked through the mental grind of being sidelined despite knowing he could help the team. And now he is finally getting the chance he earned. And the best part is he is not taking any of it for granted. You can hear it when he says he is blessed for every opportunity and ready to make something happen. That hunger is what this offense has been missing. It is one thing to be talented, but it is another to run like every touch is a gift. That is the kind of mentality that breaks open tight games, especially games against a team like Cleveland, where every yard is a battle and every point feels earned. The Browns, for all their struggles, always play the Ravens like it is their championship. They try to drag the game into the mud, slow everything down, lean on physicality, and force Baltimore to grind for everything. That is why having a runner like Keaton is such a game changer. He does not need perfect blocking. He does not need big holes. He just needs the slightest window of daylight. And in games where both teams know each other so well, where the margins are thin and every advantage matters, that kind of explosiveness can flip the momentum instantly. But the story of this matchup is bigger than just Keaton. It is about how Baltimore responds after everything that has been swirling around them. It is about how they shake off the noise surrounding Lamar Jackson and step into a game that feels important. Not just for the standings, but for the statement it can send. The Ravens were 1-5. They dug themselves a hole. They fought to climb back, now at 5-5. With the season settling into the stretch that separates contenders from pretenders, they cannot afford to slip. And facing the Browns on the road is exactly the type of challenge that tests whether this team is ready to turn the corner or whether they are still figuring out who they want to be. The encouraging thing is that the atmosphere around the team feels different now that Lamar is healthy again. You can sense the confidence rising. You can sense players feeding off the energy he brings to practice, the calmness he carries into the huddle, the way he instantly takes control the moment he steps on the field. When a quarterback plays with that kind of authority, it elevates everyone else. Receivers run sharper routes, linemen come off the ball with more fire, running backs trust the play designs more, and the defense, even though it is not directly tied to Lamar, plays with more urgency simply because they know the offense can reward their stops. That is why the criticism thrown at Lamar this week felt so frustrating. It felt disconnected from reality. It felt like people who have not watched the Ravens closely, or worse, people who have watched but simply refuse to acknowledge what is happening. You cannot watch Lamar orchestrate this offense. You cannot watch the way the team collapses without him and somehow walk away thinking he is overrated. If anything, you walk away thinking he is the glue holding everything together. You see the growth year after year. You see the improvement in decision-making. You see how he protects the football. You see the way he bails the team out of bad situations with pure talent, pure instinct, pure leadership. And when someone consistently does that, it makes labeling him overrated feel like a lazy take. A take designed for attention rather than accuracy. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. Baltimore is buzzing after reports emerged that head coach John Harbaugh made a stunning statement about one of his players, allegedly declaring, "He's not playing for me anymore." The comment, said to have been made behind closed doors but quickly leaked to insiders, has sent shockwaves through the Ravens facility and across the NFL rumor mill. No official confirmation has come from the team, yet whispers from those close to the situation describe visible tension between Harbaugh and the unnamed player, a once key figure in the Ravens roster. Some sources claim the friction had been building for weeks, sparked by disagreements over practice discipline and attitude issues that finally boiled over. Others suggest a deeper clash, something personal that crossed the line of professional tolerance. Harbaugh, known for his passionate leadership and hard-nosed style, rarely makes emotional decisions. For him to draw such a definitive line hints at something far more serious than a simple sideline dispute. Teammates, when asked, reportedly exchanged glances and deflected questions. An unmistakable sign that the locker room is treading carefully around a sensitive subject. Speculation is now running wild. Could this mean a trade request is on the horizon? Or has the bridge already been burned beyond repair? Some pundits argue that Harbaugh's words might have been said in the heat of the moment, a flash of frustration misinterpreted as finality. Others insist it was deliberate, a message, perhaps, to the rest of the roster about accountability and commitment. Whatever the truth, the tension inside the Ravens camp feels undeniable. A single phrase, "not playing for me anymore," has turned into a storm of theories, gossip, and late-night debates among fans. Until someone steps up to clarify, Baltimore remains on edge, wondering whether this marks the end of a key relationship or just another chapter in Harbaugh's fiery legacy. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.